Welcome back to the deep dive. If you've been scrolling through the news lately, you might have seen some headlines popping up.
Yeah, headlines that feel a bit historical.
Exactly. But with a very current date. The bubonic plague. It's a phrase that, immediately makes you think of the past.
Mm-hmm. Black Death,
R-
centuries ago.
Right. But it's here in 2025, and it's making news. So today, we're going to cut through the noise. We want to get to the heart of what's really going on with the bubonic plague right now.
And we're drawing on that recent article, Bubonic Plague in 2025, Facts, Myths, and Prevention.
That's the one. Our goal here is pretty simple. Break down the facts, tackle some of the maybe myths or anxieties swirling around, and give you a clear, kind of concise overview of what's real, how it might affect you, and crucially, the simple steps you can take.
Practical steps to stay informed and safe.
Yes, and we'll definitely unpack that latest update, the really sad news about a resident in northern Arizona,
Back in July 2025, yeah.
which marks the first U.S. death from plague since, 2007?
That's right. A significant event in public health terms.
Okay, so let's unpack this and try to understand what's really going on, maybe starting right at the beginning. For anyone hearing bubonic plague and feeling a bit, uneasy, what exactly is it?
Okay, so fundamentally, bubonic plague is a bacterial infection. It's caused by a specific bug called Yersinia pestis.
Yersinia pestis, got it.
And the main way humans get it, the most common route, is through bites. Bites from infected fleas.
Fleas that live on animal.
Exactly. Usually rodents. Think prairie dogs, rats, squirrels, that kind of thing.
And historically, this is the big one, right? The Black Death.
It absolutely is. That's its infamous claim to fame from the 14th century. Huge devastation. But here's the crucial point for today. While it's the same bacterium, the context is completely different.
How so?
Well, first, modern antibiotics are highly effective against it. That's a game changer. And second, our public health systems, surveillance, understanding of transmission, it's all light years ahead.
So a disease that once devastated continents
Is now, thankfully, rare and treatable. If caught early, that's the key. It shows just how far we've come in managing infectious diseases.
That historical perspective really is something. It highlights the progress. But, like we said, it's back in the headlines. So this 2025 update, that tragic case in Arizona, how does that fit into this long history?
It's a really stark reminder, isn't it, that these diseases haven't vanished, they just persist in nature.
Yeah.
So July this year, a northern Arizona resident sadly died from plague.
Yeah.
And it's significant because, as you said, it's the first U.S. fatality from it since 2007,
And they connected it to.
to a recent die-off of prairie dogs nearby. Prairie dogs are well-known reservoirs for Yersinia pestis and the fleas that carry it.
So the bacteria flares up in the animal population, and sometimes it spills over.
That's exactly the pattern. It emerges from its natural reservoir, and the response now is what's different from history. Health officials immediately started monitoring the area, collecting samples from rodents, from fleas.
Trying to gauge the risk and stop any more cases.
Precisely. It's that robust public health response in action.
Which is reassuring. But still, hearing plague death in the U.S. in 2025, it naturally makes you wonder, how common is this today? Really?
Yeah, that's the key question for perspective. And the answer is, it's extremely rare in the United States.
Okay.
We typically see, on average, about 7 human cases reported each year, total, across the whole country.
7. That is a very small number.
It is. And these cases are almost always concentrated in specific areas,
Whereabouts?
primarily in rural parts of the western states.
Yeah.
So think Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, California, Oregon, Nevada, that sort of region.
Okay, so not something you typically encounter in, say, New York City or Chicago.
Highly unlikely. It's linked to those environments where infected rodents and their fleas are present.
And most of these cases, these 7 or so cases a year, are the bubonic form.
Yes, over 80% of U.S. cases are the bubonic form. That's characterized by the swollen lymph nodes, the buboes.
But you mentioned other forms.
Right. There are rarer but more severe forms. There's septicemic plague, where the bacteria gets into the bloodstream. And there's pneumonic plague, which affects the lungs.
And that one sounds particularly serious.
It is. The pneumonic form is the most dangerous, partly because it's the only form that can potentially spread directly from person to person
How?
through respiratory droplets, coughing, sneezing, just like the flu or, other respiratory illnesses.
Okay. That distinction is really important.
Absolutely. While all forms are serious, understanding the potential for person-to-person spread with pneumonic plague is critical for public health. It dictates isolation procedures and contact tracing.
So even though it's rare overall, knowing these differences matters a lot for how it's handled.
Definitely. It shapes the response. The fact that we only average 7 cases speaks volumes about surveillance and control. But it also tells us these ancient threats are still out there, lurking in the background. Requires constant vigilance.
Vigilance. Okay, so moving from the how common to the what to do, what are the key symptoms people should know? When should you actually be concerned and seek help?
Right, practical information. The main things to watch for are sudden onset of fever and chills, a headache, feeling weak or fatigued, and then the hallmark sign, those swollen, tender, painful lymph nodes, the buboes,
Where do those usually appear?
often near where the flea bite occurred. So maybe in the groin, armpit, or neck area.
And you mentioned progression.
Yes, in some cases, if it's not treated promptly, the infection can spread, leading to that more dangerous septicemic or pneumonic plague.
Which underscores the need for speed.
Absolutely critical. Prompt treatment with antibiotics makes a massive difference. Survival rates are very high if treated early, over 90%.
Wow, over 90%, that's huge.
It is. But, and this is the serious part, without that quick treatment, the disease can be fatal. So early diagnosis and intervention are everything.
Okay, that's very clear. Treatment works well, but you have to get it fast. So, thinking proactively then, what about prevention? What are the top tips from the source material?
They're quite straightforward, actually. Mostly common sense for interacting with nature, especially out west.
Like what?
First, avoid contact with wild rodents. Don't feed them, don't handle them, and steer clear of any sick or dead animals you might come across.
Makes sense. What else?
Flea control for your pets. If you live in or travel to those areas, make sure your dogs and cats are treated for fleas. They can potentially bring infected fleas into your home.
Good point. Pets as potential carriers.
Yep. Third, and this connects back to the Arizona case, report unusual die-offs of rodents. If you see a lot of dead prairie dogs or squirrels suddenly, let your local health department know.
So they can investigate if plague is involved.
Exactly. And finally, the most important one perhaps, if you develop those symptoms, fever, chills, swollen glands, especially after being in an area where plague might occur, get medical help immediately.
Don't wait and see.
Don't wait. Tell the doctor about your potential exposure. Early treatment saves lives.
Okay. So avoiding rodents, pet flea control, reporting die-offs, and seeking immediate help for symptoms seems manageable. Which brings us back to the big question, the one probably on a lot of listeners' minds. Should you actually be worried about this? Like, widespread panic worried?
Yeah, the anxiety factor. And the answer, based on everything we know, is no. Widespread outbreaks are highly unlikely today.
Why is that?
Modern medicine, primarily antibiotics, and our public health surveillance systems are designed to catch and contain cases quickly.
So the Arizona case, while tragic,
It's a reminder to be vigilant, especially if you're in those specific rural western regions where it's known to exist. But it is absolutely not a reason for widespread panic across the country.
right, it puts it in perspective.
If you look at the quick facts again, average 7 U.S. cases a year. Main transmission is flea bites from rodents in specific areas, and the fatality rate with treatment is less than 10%.
That's a stark contrast to the historical image.
A huge contrast. It really underscores how effective public health measures and medical treatments have become. Early detection and treatment are incredibly powerful tools against this.
So wrapping this up, what does this all mean for you listening right now? I think the main message is be informed, not afraid.
Exactly.
The bubonic plague does still exist, that's a fact. But in the U.S., it's rare, it's geographically limited, and it's very manageable if you get medical care quickly. Knowing the real facts, knowing those simple precautions, that's what helps manage both the actual very low risk and any anxiety around it.
And it's fascinating, isn't it? The fact that this ancient disease, something so devastating historically, is still with us, but now largely controlled. It says a lot about our relationship with the natural world, that ongoing need for vigilance, for understanding the ecosystems around us.
Yeah.
And it highlights how crucial our public health infrastructure is for managing threats, whether they're ancient ones like plague or entirely new ones that might emerge.
That's a great point. It's not just about this one disease, but about the systems we have in place. It's a reminder that even the oldest threats need modern attention and respect. Something to keep in mind.